All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. I would like to entertain a motion for approval of the previous meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Moved by Transky. Can I get a second, please? Sure. Second by Klotz. Any comments? Amendments? All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? All abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you all. All right, discussion and possible action of event plans and next steps. So I want to thank everybody who did send me information on budgetary items. Sarah Marshall, Sarah Chase, Melissa, thank you. So our next steps were to start to formulate the budget. So if we want to just throw some rough estimates out there for some of the items that we're looking to purchase and maybe have to spend money on it, just making a rough estimate of a budget, I'm happy to put together the final document to share as a working file and submit it to the select board. I was thinking an Excel document that just outlines the cap in which we are looking to expend for each of the items, and then we can go from there. So, who would like to go first? So I'm happy to jump in on fireworks, but I think I'd rather pass around the table to see what everyone else is.
Can we go through the actual list, like the doc that Sarah's been adding to, and like kind of assign some? Because I feel like if we skip around, we might miss
some stuff,
right? Stuff, and it's
yes.
And when we get to the catering side, I had questions about how many events and how many locations, things like that, because that will determine what it does look like. Plus, and what we would estimate the number of people for each of those.
Yeah,
it's going to be.
And if you'd like to jump in at any point as well to throw out an idea for an event, feel free to jump in.
Okay,
so sure, awesome.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Are we going to be referring to the draft called Draft 2?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the main document. It's on the art.
Yep. Yeah.
Draft 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Draft 2 edited 8/29/24.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to see if I can actually get it up on the screen. All right, so I think let's kick stuff off and have the conversation while I work on getting it shared on the screen. So let's see. So the first item is the lead up to events in the lecture series at Kent Memorial Library. Sarah, do you feel that there's going to be any sort of financial contribution needed for the lecture series?
No, I mean, only if you guys decide you want to go super big and like bring in a Supreme Court justice, like they usually have speakers fees. But if we're talking about local historians, no, it's free.
Okay.
I mean, other than it's like a normal program for us. So no, there wouldn't be any additional costs, assuming that in 2026, we will have the town hall if we need it, and or the community house if we need it.
Okay. Perfect. In the community house. Yep, that would be available. And then same with the town hall. So perfect.
Because it's very likely we will not have a library at that point. I mean, we will, but not our current library. We'll be in our other space and we won't have room for a big program.
Also potentially like the pavilion, like we can do some outside stuff too.
Yep, we could do stuff outside the pavilion. I know that we can use the fields if we need to. We can also utilize
Kent Center School.
Kent Center School. We can use the field over at the Sloan Museum. Canva, if you guys have space as well.
Yeah, we have space. As a matter of fact, I was looking at your notes and there's a paragraph in here about doing some reenactment. We had talked about that. Doing that in our lower field. It's quite a big field for parking for our events, and we'd love to be part of that and offer that up as available.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. So that flows right into the next one, which is the Revolutionary War History Workshops.
Did we assign like any price on the speakers or not?
Oh, Sarah, sorry. I bounced out of that for a second. When it comes to the price of the speakers, did you say that there's gonna be a cost for them or like a rough
Well,
estimate?
if we are gonna, honestly, when I went through the state library list, I didn't see anybody that looked good. I think that will be more of a challenge than I thought. We have a big list and you kind of go through it. Nobody jumped out at me like there wasn't like a years ago there was a John Adams guy. I don't know if you saw anything like that, but I just didn't see anything that was appropriate. They usually range somewhere between 300 to 500 when you're getting a speaker like a performer like that. But I didn't see a lot of good options.
We should just put 500 in there as a placeholder.
Yeah.
This is the wish list and we should assign some prices to things.
Yep. And it can be a more, this is definitely not a completely static document that we're creating. So if we want to put something together that's saying that, we're looking at 500, but in reality, we might need more, we can go ahead and figure out how we would obtain that fund. So perfect.
There was a reenactment troupe, I think out of Ridgefield. Does that sound right, Melissa? You might have mentioned that too.
My guy didn't write us back. I have to follow up with the guy that I was pursuing. He works at HVA, but I don't think he was from Ridgefield now.
Okay, I'd have to go dig it up again. I have no concept of what that would be because that's not a one-off. That's like a group. So.
Right.
I suppose we could ask someone at Marblewood because they did do that for a parents' weekend. Maybe Aiden's sophomore year.
Yeah, Wendy or Misty Jordan would be the people, I think. The real number might be known by the business office, but
even if they gave us a name, then we can pursue. Yep. So I would put a big question mark there, like highlight question mark, and so that we fill that number in, because that's gonna cost a lot.
Yes, that one's gonna be definitely gonna be.
And it's a big part of this weekend. Like I would not want, if we can get it, it would be a big part of this weekend.
Absolutely.
Probably an high demand.
Especially this weekend. Everything we're writing is in high demand. We need to like act on it.
That's
for
Super
sure.
Bowl. That's Super Bowl type stuff.
Of course, yeah, as is fireworks, but yes. All the fun stuff.
All right. Anything else on lecture series?
I'm sorry?
Anything else on the lecture series?
No.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, Sarah, is the vocals good in here for audio, or do we?
I can hear you, yeah, but I'm just a little deaf, but yeah.
No,
I
that's
think
okay.
You're fine, I'm
I've been
not.
playing around with the speaker a little bit, so that's why I want to make sure that you can still hear it. So
It's kind of, it goes in and out a little bit, but again, I don't know if that's you or me.
It's okay. All right, awesome. So next up is the Revolutionary War History workshops at Kent Historical Society. So Mark, are you thinking that there would be any costs associated with that one?
To be honest with you, I have not had a minute since our last meeting to really focus on.
That's okay.
I think we could, it depends on, I don't know. I haven't done my homework.
I think we should put a question mark there with a highlight that we check back with Marge next month.
Yep.
So remind me again what.
So it's key battles, notable figures, and daily life during the Revolutionary War. Those would be the topics.
But I mean, the topic, is this an exhibit that you're talking about or a program?
Could be
or?
hands-on artifact sessions with reenactments and interactive discussions. And bi-monthly workshops from August 2025. If it's doable, if not.
It will be doable. I just, this has been a month from hell for me, so.
It's totally okay.
Someone's working on a book.
Totally okay.
And it's quite possible that Marge will come back with that and say that the KHS is filing their own grant, which, because there are sources that she can access that we can't access. So I mean, it just takes a little bit of thought.
Did we mention the Housatonic Heritage Area as a possible source of grants?
We did, and then we also talked about Connecticut.
Humanities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, would these things that you're talking about be at Seven Harvests, is that?
Depends on what it is.
Yeah.
We've got, probably not, because we've got such limited parking
Yeah.
there. It really is a big issue.
But if
So-
it's an exhibit for the season, then of course it's
Yeah,
at Center
yeah,
Parks.
yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah,
could
why
be
one
their,
at a time?
yeah, it could be their exhibit that just is featured in our playbook.
Well, I was looking through my stuff today, because I've got to give a talk at the senior center on Wednesday about the CCC, and I'm looking through one of our newsletters about the CCC. I stumbled across several articles about a Civil War reenactment. We did a reenactment with the Second Connecticut. We also did a cemetery tour that was fantastic, and I think we could.
Didn't we do something with hospitals? Like nurses and doctors of the Civil War? I feel like that we had an awesome speaker that came in about.
And I think Revolutionary War medicine would be a really
Yeah.
interesting thing to look into. So there's a lot of ideas for topics, so
I feel like there
but
was
I
this-
think again, as far as where are we gonna do stuff, obviously, if we're gonna do something in the cemetery.
Yeah.
Which in this case, maybe most of those people are up in Good Hill.
But remember, it doesn't have, even if they're in Good Hill, it doesn't have to be the exact cemetery. It can still be
Yep.
featured here and talk about people that are
Yep.
there
Yep,
for accessibility and
and
respect.
I'm working on a good list of the Revolutionary War soldiers who were buried there. Jenny Renberg has come through with a lot of information that I didn't have. So I'm gonna get together with her and Andy Joseph.
Is-
and see what we can-
Do we have the Daughters of the American Revolution on this list?
No, we should.
Jenny Renberg should be part of
Okay.
this,
Yeah.
absolutely, that's a huge oversight on our
Just
part.
figured she was, okay.
No, that's a huge oversight.
No, she'd be happy.
Marge, I'm not sure whose property it's on Richards Road, but my first relative in town was a Revolutionary War doctor,
Mhm.
and he's buried.
In that tiny little ridge, oh my goodness,
I've never been able, I know the grave's there, but I haven't been able to find it.
most of those are illegible.
Yeah, there are a couple of them that are.
It'd be worth mentioning.
Yeah.
But again, you could do the reenactment of in the cemetery here.
Yeah.
Some address this character and then put the,
I don't know, there's some.
which is how the gun museum does theirs.
Right.
Yeah, which would make more sense, because it's, all these graves are pretty hard to find, some of the original ones, unless, well, there are some in the Kent Hollow Cemetery.
There's Kent Hollow, there's Bridge, there's Good Hill.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in Congo, which is too bad, because that's the most easily accessible, but I like your idea. of
Yeah, I
using
think
that
we have
space.
to do it that way and
Who
features right and.
Who is the contact for DAR, and I'll add her to.
Jenny Renberg.
Renberg, RAHN,
I can send you her email tomorrow if you need, Marge.
I've got it.
We have it, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll add her, yeah.
Alright, so March, we can go back to it next month, so there's no rush on it, no pressure.
Hopefully this other project that I have will be done by then.
Alright, the next one is the patriotic essays, poetry and art contest for local schools, so the expense that I'm seeing from that would be the prizes, so it looks like we're looking for scholarships and then it would just be recognition at the 4th of July event and then publication in the Good Times Dispatch. So we would have to find funding for these scholarships in some capacities, so.
For those, I would consider reaching out to some of the clubs, and like the Lions Club could probably do $500 or something, not to commit them, but.
Yeah.
I think if the GTD sponsors it, they could probably come up with some cash for it.
That'd be awesome. So that would be, we're looking at $500 per entity per number of entries. Based on what we're looking for age
Cash prize
groups.
doesn't have to be that big, I mean, it
Yeah.
could be 500 total and you give 3 prizes
Yeah.
split, however it is, I mean.
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
aren't
we can do
entering
that.
it for necessarily the money, they're more entering it for
We could also do gift certificates to
local places.
$50 from House of Books, that kind.
And it could be a book too, the Revolutionary War, I mean, there's so many different things that could happen.
Perfect.
I would just
gonna
say,
put 500
local,
for
I would just say, also say local donations in parentheses.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put 500 for placeholder and local
Yeah.
donations as well. Yep. Fantastic. Anything else on that topic? All right.
Who will be responsible, I think, for working on.
I'm not sure we're there. I'm not sure we're there yet.
I don't think we're there yet, so I think we can divvy up that. in a few more meetings. I think we just need a few, once we get the budget settled, I think we will be able to divvy up that task. I think we got a little bit of time. So that's perfect. Community mural projects. So that would be utilizing the local schools and Kent Art Association for artist coordination, local businesses for funding and supplies. Do we feel that there's going to be any funding needed for the mural contest? Do we need to provide materials? Do we need to provide a prize for the winner?
How do we even know what? Is it paint? Is it on
Yeah.
masonite? Is it on an actual wall? Like, I'm not sure that where you can.
Should we put a
Yeah,
placeholder
where-
fund of
Thinking.
$1,000?
Location, or is it like
Yeah.
temporary? Is it on a piece of?
Raised up boards or something.
Yeah.
And
Is
what's
it-
so where?
Is it made of red solo cups put into a fence post or like a
Well,
chain
but
link
it could
fence
also-
concept? Like there's so many different things we could do. with
It could
wood.
also start at the Memorial Day picnic and be on the board, like I have always at the Memorial Day picnic, and then
Right.
it travels around. I mean, there are ways that we could do this for very little money, or there's ways we could make this more permanent. Like, I would consider that a mural. I mean, but I'm not sure the expense of that is, I don't know what it is.
Melissa,
Yeah.
you may have accidentally created a answer to this with the hay bales that you have out on the KLT. You could do a series of those hay bales that are very.
I like that.
You guys are too much.
So.
You know the characters.
So that's Melissa is the artist behind.
Everyone just outed me.
Fantastic at it.
Oh, that's wonderful. How does that tie into a mural?
I don't know.
You do a great job.
An art. It's art.
It's art. So maybe that's what.
Everyone gets a giant hay bale and they have to do something with it.
How much would it cost for us to purchase those hay bales from the farmer who?
I think they're like $500 each.
$500.
I think they're actually expensive. Cause it's
So no.
not totally feasible. But yeah,
Fun.
I can promise one day I'll do a hay bale.
So should we put a placeholder in of some amount for this competition, for prizes, for supplies?
I mean, I just look at that one and how cool it is. I have no idea what that costs now to make, so that's, you know, if it's not a mural, but it's like a permanent art piece.
I would say that probably along, we're looking between 500 and 1,000 for something that's going to be like the Constitution that's gonna be written out,
That's-
all right there. Something that's written out that's gonna be signed, and we can have everyone in town sign it that's
Right.
present that day,
I mean,
so. Yeah, I would say placeholder maximum, is a good point.
1,500.
I would say probably 1,000, 1,500.
I think if.
but then we could also
Wow.
consider, instead of that, it could be closer to like the quilters quilt in the hallway there, and
Right.
you know, and then we're asking them to create a year-long art project, and
I bet, I'm sorry,
I think
I
it
hate
is.
us from the Kent Punters, but
I
I think they would
think-
really.
I
like
think they're
to do that.
probably,
Well,
yeah.
we need to have a clear idea of what this project entails before we start putting a price tag on
Yeah.
it.
Makes
I
sense.
mean, that would be a weak point. If I were on a committee running a budget, it's like, so you want $1,000 for something you don't really know what
Yeah.
you're doing?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, Steve.
So I
I
think.
mean, I always wonder if you can buy the Declaration of Independence. If you can't buy it today, you probably can in a year, because everyone's gonna wanna do something like that, so I feel like that's.
And I know from being part of that signature quilt, that was a hell of a lot of work.
Yes.
A lot of work to collect those signatures and then.
Yeah.
But I do think that. Absolutely, the Kent cultures are gonna wanna have some part of this, I mean, there's
Yep.
no, that is not a yes or no, that's a definite.
Yeah, and they're on our list, which is fantastic, so I think if we incorporate them into this project, that would be great.
Right, to
I feel
Sarah's point, putting a name to a thing, yeah.
I feel like I talked to someone, to Barbara Marconi about that, and she declined.
Really?
But now I'm wondering if it was a different project.
Oh.
I don't remember it coming up before, so maybe.
I don't think it came up in this meeting, but I'm gonna check with her, because I feel like, because she and I were talking about this thing I'm pointing behind you, and then the quilt in the hallway of town hall, and I was like, I know, I said to her, because she's not I don't think she's the actual president of it, but she's definitely the
She is
driving
now.
force behind
She
a
is
lot of the
now.
projects. And Barbara Marconi, and she declined. I feel like I asked her to be on this committee, but now I might be misremembering, but I'm gonna make a note of it and I will get back to Matt if she already said they didn't have the bandwidth to do a big project like that.
She is the head of the Kent Quilters now. Jane has stepped down.
And I would just say that it's
Talk to Kat.
possible that, you know, we're not talking a quilt, but that they are manning a mural of some sort. You know, they could be manning just that and people signing with a pen. You know,
Yes,
it could
yes,
go in
I think,
any-
yeah, I think, well, and part of it was she has a flag quilt outside of her house. You may or may not have seen it. It's really lovely. And that's why that's why I'm almost positive I talked to her about it, because I said, oh, something like that would be wonderful for this project. And she said, I'll think about it. And then she came back and she was like, no, I don't think I can do it. So, but I will ask her to confirm that.
Thank you.
I think someone should do a Google search on that thing and see if
We
it's
just
what it is.
did.
Oh, and there's none. Yeah.
It's around anywhere from 300 to 500, but I can contact Kat Art and offer and see what.
Yeah,
they charge.
for sure.
Perfect.
I guess for the historical significance though, we don't wanna let it somehow slide that if you were a signer, and this is where I'm wrestling in my head, is if you were a signer of the Declaration of Independence, you were putting your life, your liberty, and your sacred honor, not to mention your fortune and the fortune of all of your ancestors to come, on the line by signing that. If you signed it and you were caught by the king and we lost the war, you were immediately executed by being drawn or quartered.
Right.
So I don't know how we convey that to future generations, just how important that document was and is.
Well, but that's a lecture. I mean, to me, I
Yeah.
think that's an educational moment. But we're creating this art piece that is going to live on like that one did. So I get what you're saying, but I think it's an educational moment.
I think it would be a good educational moment because it really will, I think, tell people a lot that they didn't know about what was put on the line when you do that.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
You're not just lightly putting your signature on something.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, do we need like somebody out there talking about drawing and quartering before? You know, like, come on, do you really want to sign it?
Volunteers?
What's the budget on drawing and quartering? I mean, do we have to get horses? Like what will we need for that?
I leave it up to the educators in the room to kind of figure out, but I think we do want to frame this so that the people who do come in and sign it have some understanding of what they're doing.
The gravity of it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a very good way to teach what this was all about, the danger of doing something like that.
I think it has like long-term effects too, like. Be aware, cognizant of what your signature means.
Mhm.
You know, like nowadays we electronically sign documents all the time and we've kind of gotten away from that. Yeah.
We all do hit I read and agreed to the terms and services and everything, but that is,
We probably haven't read them.
who has, some folks may not have read that. So truly, it's the commitment behind it. So great point, great points here with the gravity. So yeah, absolutely, we can definitely explore that and see how we can bring that impact to the table when it comes to the demonstration and telling people what it means to sign the Constitution or sign.
But isn't that's a big theme of this whole weekend.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a really,
like not something we're gonna ignore.
Yeah.
It's the whole theme of this whole weekend, really.
Yeah.
What our ancestors did before us.
All right, anything else on this topic before we bounce over to talking about the Kent Memorial Library story time? And the cost behind that? All right, so Sarah, would there be any costs associated with having storytellers? No? Awesome.
Zero, we
Zero.
can do that.
Sarah, if you want me to read, I will gladly read any day, all day, every day. I'm happy to do it, so.
Thank you. Yeah, we won't have trouble finding that. I mean, it can even just be done by staff, so.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, 4th of July, past storyboard and photo board. Do we feel that there's gonna be any costs associated with that? And that would be with
Printing.
Historical Society,
I think there's a printing cost for sure.
printing costs, yep.
So what is this?
This would be the photo board featuring Kent's previous July 4th parties and events over the years.
I can look into the cost of the photo board.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sarah, I've done those for the Historical Society before, and I've done them at Staples. So just getting the price of their biggest print at Staples, because then they just print for JPEG.
Yeah, I think it's probably $75.
I wouldn't even know, I don't think it's that, I mean,
It's close.
one print is not gonna be that much, and then you mount it, so. But you're gonna do a whole bunch of prints.
Yeah, and then what they were floating was close to that price.
I wasn't doing the posters, I was doing the photocopying actually,
Oh.
because it could be black and white. And so it's cheaper, that's how we did the. Exhibits at the Historical Society.
Yeah, I think they go by size regardless of color. I think that's what they were merging to. I can't remember, but no.
It's about the paper and the whether it's the thicker paper or the thinner paper,
Right.
and I did the thinner
Okay.
and mounted it up.
Perfect. Anything else? All right, next up would be the commemorative bell fundraiser. So I did, Linda Harrington was kind enough to share some information with me about bells and a company that her sister runs up in New Hampshire where she sells bells. They would be at about $15 a bell if we were to purchase them. So if we do want to have commemorative bells for the event, I think that'd be a great opportunity for us to jump into having the bells for the parade or having them for anything of the day, anything throughout that time that we're doing the festivities.
Can we look into Woodbury pewter's bells?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or the Woodbury pewter ornaments that are of the bell? Just because I think that's a collectible. We used to have, who did the art for the pewter ones at the Historical Society?
Fran Johnson.
So maybe there's something like maybe Deb Shabrian or Ed Martinez would be willing to do something that could be done up in as the pewter ornament.
That one would be a fundraiser, so there would be no direct cost needed from.
Yeah, we would have to
the
at
subcommittee
least
itself.
make money on that.
Right. So I would say that would be under the auspices. of the
Potentially that's like
nonprofit.
what pays for the scholarships or something like
How
that.
many do you think we would sell? And wouldn't want to order 500 of them and be left with 450.
I think the pewter ornaments, there's like a minimum, like, you know, the ones I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
I
right?
mean, yeah,
I
would
mean,
Mm.
I have every
They're
single
not
one of
cheap.
them up from the Historical Society, like it's part of my collection. I would want one of these.
For the,
And-
For the town's celebration, they did, one of the local artists, I think it was Barbara Bush, created a logo for one side, and then they put the town seal on the other, and they did coins. And you could buy, there were like 3 levels of coins. You could buy kind of silver, copper, pewter, the 3.
Oh, nice.
And those were sold in advance to raise money for the project itself.
It's awesome how it's stuck with inventory.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of selling them in advance,
Yeah.
like,
Pre-order.
it's almost the kind of thing we could actually start now selling for, to hype up the whole, like, what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know the cost, but you cost $10 and you sold them for 20, but then they had other levels of them so that you could, everybody could participate at like the bronze level, and then other people were like, oh, I'd like to sell a coin. And those were more expensive.
Nice. Okay.
Doesn't have to be a coin, but just
Yeah.
throwing that out as what they did last time.
So when would that type of fundraiser have to be geared up for? I mean, when you say.
I think it could, if we literally contacted Woodbury Pewter or someone now to get the pricing and then figured out the artwork. We could start it as soon as we start it, like, and then we would have an idea of a little bit of money coming in. I would just ask, can you ask Barbara, like, if that's allowed? I mean, I assume it's allowed and.
Yeah, I can inquire and see if we can put it into a special fund.
Non-lapsing,
Non-lapsing,
yeah.
special fund that would be specific for it. Yeah, let me ask.
Yeah, I don't think we can get it going before Christmas, but if we can get it going right after Christmas for next Christmases, like.
At least for spring and event, events
Yeah.
that we will have.
Yeah.
On Main Street, we'll have it available.
Yeah. Alright, anything else? Alright, next up would be the restaurant menus and patriotic brews. That would be more for the Chamber of Commerce, so I think that'd be a safe conversation for them.
I don't even think, I mean,
We can
that's
move past that.
right, that's
Yep.
for the price of whatever the business is that does.
Exactly. And then the historical hikes and cemetery tours. I think maybe we can revisit that one for pricing for next time, so. Yeah, let's revisit that one for next
Yeah, I would
time.
just say historical hikes, probably no cost.
No cost.
Cemetery tours, there might be cost to costuming and lighting if
Right,
it's at night.
yep. So we can revisit that for sure. Ghost encounters and their tales of Kent.
That's kind of the same
It's
one
the
as
same
the
one.
ghost, like
Yeah.
I think that is cemetery tours in my head.
I agree.
It's gonna be one or the other, if it's like outside of restaurants, it's not gonna be in a cemetery or vice versa.
Yeah. And then the last one is the historic trades at Eric Sloan Museum. Andrew is not on the call this evening, but Kim, I know that you do work closely with them, so if that's something you
Yeah,
are
we do.
interested in, we'd love to have you on board with that, so definitely feel free to jump in on that at any point.
But I also assume that one doesn't have an expense, that's what they do, so I don't.
So
really think
we're good. Yep,
That already does.
perfect. All right, anything else for, that was just the lead up prior to second, third, and fourth of 2026. All right, those specific events, July 4th morning of is the parade. Do we feel there is going to be a cost associated with the parade? It would probably be the police overtime or
presence.
police presence, absolutely. The use of CERT we don't pay for. Or do we pay for CERT? We don't, but definitely police presence will need to.
If it's a contest, prizes.
The contest, the prizes. Yep. So I can find out how much it would cost to have police overtime.
I mean, we're really thinking, with the amount of people that this is gonna be, we're thinking the whole weekend, we're gonna need police presence, not just for this parade.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking the whole weekend, you're gonna need police presence.
But this won't be in the budget until 26, 27, correct?
Town budget, yeah.
So not even,
December 4 days, 26.
right, so it won't even be in the budget that you're presenting next year, in the spring.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
It'll be the following.
It'll be the following.
Okay.
Yep. So. That we can definitely figure out for that time, and obviously costs will change by that point, so we'll have to readjust.
Just to know that that'll be a second budget document.
That'll be the second budget document, so that'll be removed from, so what I'll do is I'll put together a draft document to share with the subcommittee, and if we all come together to meet again, we can go ahead and just we put a vote to it to submit to the select board for review and for consideration, and on there we can just put in that this would be a second budget item or a second.
Well, it
budget
goes on
for
to the town budget is what
Correct.
she's saying, as
Yeah.
the park and, well, it's not really, it wouldn't even ever fall into park and rec, but it'll
No.
go into like the
But one will be.
police line presence of the town budget, yeah.
And that'd
It
be a
almost
second
seems
budget.
like we are creating a Google Sheet now
We
with
are.
these numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'll be doing.
Okay.
All right, so definitely for the parade again, police presence and any sort of prizes, that would definitely be something we'd have to consider for cost. Any sort of demonstrations, we would have to pay actors if we still want to have the demonstrations. Any interactive sessions where we want to have actors, we'd have to pay for them as well. So, oh, that's actually the, jumping a little bit ahead, but that's also tying in with the same thing, the historic revolution reenactors right after the parade, so kind of tying those two together. Big lump, because you can go from the parade right to that. Anything, or you can have historic reenactments during the parade, if we truly feel like it. So.
I don't think, I mean, personally, I would
be-
wanna like have the parade be,
Separate.
yeah, cause it would get watered down if
Who's
if you're
parading?
paying for the reenactors, you don't wanna have them meshed in with all the homemade floats.
I'm sorry, who's parading? Who's actually?
You're leading the parade.
Yeah, maybe, but
You are.
It's local schools and businesses
Alright, but
making
how would this
floats.
differ from, okay, so. I just wanna see what makes it different, say Memorial Day.
Very different from Memorial Day,
Month,
significantly.
you know, or the Parade of Lights, or whatever, just.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Floats made by community members.
okay,
So little almost similar to the Parade of Lights, but
yeah,
at the
just
same time.
thematically different.
Yes.
Thematically different and during the
I
day.
don't think the schools. Taking part of that.
Well, it's July, you're done with school.
Yeah, I might be there, but I might.
You're out.
Alright, so I can put together the price concepts for prices and police overtime for the parade.
One consideration for the parade is we might wanna talk to local people who are musicians who would be willing to like, at
Yeah.
least Soul might be a good contact for that too. She works with a lot of the Heartland bands. And then see who would be willing, either we can get a float together that would have a band on it, or we have a marching band. I don't know if Kent Center School would be willing to sort of come together for a few days
Outside
in summer.
in the summer.
5 days.
Yeah. I wonder, it might be hard to do that, camps and travel and whatever.
To travel.
But I wonder if the concert series, like, maybe we're asking people to. You're doing a concert now, regular, but like, can you also do this year? So maybe we're asking each of the concert series bands to make an appearance sometime during this weekend. Also,
Yeah.
And I
as like part of that contract, so it's not.
would love to challenge the fife and drum to see if they could provide us with a fife and drum corps. Sort of like
There's one in Waterbury.
sponsored, yeah.
I know of a few. I can
They'll probably be quite busy that weekend.
definitely will be quite busy that weekend, I will tell you that. But also. Anything anyone wants to jump in on for the parade or?
Dates for the celebration, is it just,
It's in the document.
So that's gonna be, so right now we're working on the second, third, and fourth
okay,
of July 2026.
okay,
So the parade would be July 4th.
right,
Reenactments, now that we're gonna roll into, that's gonna be the second through the fourth. Everything that we're talking about prior to these two items, that's leading up to
right, right,
Publicity,
the
basically.
weekend. Yeah, it's getting the hype.
okay.
The good old publicity, the hype, getting everyone all ready for July 2026. So leading into the historic revolutionary reenactors. We already touched upon looking for performers and lecturers, so I can increase that significantly. So if we're looking for people for the second through the fourth, do we want to have? So that's 3 days worth right there.
I think this is one
One,
activity.
One activity.
Amongst this, sometime during the second to the fourth.
because the third is gonna be the 18th century costume ball, which we'll touch on in a minute. So maybe the second we stick with the reenactment, the third is the costume ball, the fourth is the parade. Actually, the second, having the
Parade
reenactment
started
and the
it.
screening of the movie 1776 would be fantastic to roll
I
together.
thought the parade would like kicked off the weekend.
No, the parade's on the fourth. The parade is July 4th morning parade. It's to kick off the day.
I think.
Are we set with that? I mean, I feel like that might be the kickoff to the whole weekend.
I feel that because it's,
I think people would want it on the day itself.
yeah,
I'm like. What is it?
because July 4th is gonna be Saturday. So we would do what, Tuesday, would do a Thursday morning?
What's
parade or
the, wait,
Thursday
what's
evening?
the public holiday? Is it Monday or Friday?
It would be Friday.
Friday. So public holiday would be Friday, so I think having the Saturday parade is perfect kick off the weekend. Or
So
kick
what
off
are
the
we,
day,
what are
rather.
you saying we're doing on the Thursday?
So on the Thursday, that would be the reenactor, and then also we have on here the July 2nd screening of the movie 1776
Can we add,
at 8 p.m.
can we add like the day of the week to this document? So that when we're looking at it, that doesn't have to have.
So confused.
Exactly, that it almost. Yeah,
Yeah, we can do this in the week.
and make it in chronological order, because it's not.
We can do days of the week. The doc.
Oh, it's in reverse chronological order in the doc. No, it's not.
So. looking at it. I can increase the amount that we have for historical revolutionary reenactors. If we're gonna do that one day on the second with it, along with 1776, because it says we'll screen 1776 at 8 p.m. So maybe having the historical revolutionary reenactors a little bit earlier in the day, maybe at like 5:36, do a little dinner theme with it. Dinner and a show.
Is that like under the 10?
And where would this be?
This is local reenactor groups at the Kent Historical Society, Slim Stanley, and KLT.
I think for the next meeting, it would make a lot of
Yeah.
sense to like divide this out into days of the week. And locations, because it's very confusing on this document. Unless you can give me a little more.
We can modify the document to represent it in a way that shows more of a calendar and location.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I'll just increase that number for the lecturer and performer. I think maybe.
Well, after this week, I'll try to nail down the reenactment number,
Okay,
like a good,
yeah, I'd say let's.
because I totally have no idea what that.
I would say just softly. 1,000.
I think you're under.
I think 2,000. I think might be our much more logical number.
And I've got people in the Historical Society that I think would be willing to help chip in with a lot of this, but not until January.
That's fair.
Some people on the board, some volunteers.
Yeah, I don't even think we're ready to ask people until we have numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's keep that in mind. Anything else for reenactors? All right, costume ball. I know we're talking about catering, and Terry had some questions on catering.
Yeah, sort of like, it's gonna depend on how many people we have, what our anticipated numbers for that are, and I wanted to know if we had like a thought on that, and for the costume ball, presumably we would want to come out without any expenses on that in terms of the cost of the food, because we would just factor that into the price of the ticket.
Right. So I would.
In some ways, that's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the costume ball is under this weekend long tent, or are you thinking it's in the community house?
Probably the community house.
So what is the capacity of the community house?
200, I think.
I think it's 200.
I mean, we're gonna sell out. If I think about it, how like Gary and his, we'll sell this out, so I think that if we're at the community house, we can take 200 as the number. Right. If that's the capacity.
Yep.
And then is it capacity with tables or without?
It's broken down, I think.
Do you know, it was 70, what did Gary charge for the burn center? 35 per person?
One was very successful and one wasn't as. The Burns was successful and the other one was
But they were
St. Patrick's Day. No, I think he changed the price. One was St. Patrick's Day that wasn't as successful, and Burns was very successful. I think he raised the price.
So we would consider, if we were doing this as a fundraiser, you could charge a little bit more if that.
Well, if it's a dinner,
Yeah.
that's warrants more than.
Yeah, I would say, if we cap the tickets at 65 to.
I think it really depends on whether you're serving alcohol or not. If it's like an open bar versus a bar where you have to pay for drinks. Or if it's BYO.
We can talk about pricing.
Bring your own meat.
Look into it. Bring your own meat.
Meat.
Oh. I think you said meat, and I was like, oh, so we're really going back to 1776. Bring your own cow and pig and whatever you want to make. This meatballs, whatever your heart desires, bring them all.
What we could do is BYOB for most things, but provide free cider, because cider would have been traditional, like hard cider would have been very traditional. We could look at costs on that and just get the figures.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what partners we can get to there.
And then for the outdoor events too, I mean, it's roughly how much we wanna provide, where the Lions Club would kick in to do like hamburgers and hot dogs. Which they could just sell as their own funders if they want to, or make free and ice cream and things like that.
Yeah.
But I would guess, like, if we were gonna budget for the weekend, I didn't talk to the IGA, but I imagine the IGA would probably kick in quite a bit if we.
I think my IGA bill is with Memorial Day picnics, so you have a pretty good idea of what 2 years from now, but
Yeah.
you know, what it costs to feed.
What was it? I didn't see the cost, what was it?
I can't remember, but that was for just under 300.
Okay, so if we.
So it should be a pretty decent
Yeah.
Foundation.
between, it had the 10, it had all of our receipts.
Yes. I figured if we covered the cost of the food at the event and we didn't break even, that we were looking at a budget of between 2,500 to 3,000.
So what if we did a bracelet system and you purchased your bracelet for the weekend, a family price or not, so like. Got into all of the activities, kind of Gilmore
Like the Gilmore
Girls.
Girls.
Yeah.
Is
And
that what we did for Gilmore Girls?
we didn't do anything for Gilmore Girls.
But it
To be
was-
clear, but yes, you got a
To that point,
bracelet,
we
you
got
got a bracelet, you got a t-shirt, and you got the weekend, and. You got in, so and then there was add-ons, so if you were asked in March or February to buy your bracelet. Then you could also do the add-on of the costume ball.
Right.
But you are in for the like family activities, and then if there was like something at the historical society, you would do an add-on to that. So you do an Eventbrite that has the basic bracelet and t-shirt, because I think we could do a t-shirt for this and
Yeah.
everyone would want it.
I feel that maybe we should flip it, it's all the big events that are on the bracelet.
Yeah.
So we add in like the barbecue, we add in the night for.
I say the costume ball, not just like if it has alcohol, probably is
Yeah.
not included in the bracelet.
That wouldn't be a family.
Exactly, only the big family things are on the
Right.
bracelet, everything else, and obviously the parade is open to
Yeah.
all, but
That's open to all,
yeah.
I like this bracelet concept, I do, and I think we can iron it out in our next meeting. Let's leave the seed there to grow and see what we can do.
But I think I would add to the document a
Yeah.
custom t-shirt. Just because that just came out of this idea, but I think that everyone would want that and it would be added value to your bracelet.
Yeah, definitely. I like it.
And maybe that's one contest, that you
Design
get to
t-shirt.
design the t-shirt.
I like that. Ooh.
And then we can put sponsors on it too on the back.
I like it.
And maybe like with the t-shirts, we could do like a design contest from like maybe within the schools or somewhere else where people can like put in designs for what they would like want on the t-shirt.
I like that.
Do you think the high school would, students from the Kent students that go to high school that are 9th to 12th grade, would take that on? Be interested?
I think it would have to be like with more people because there aren't many like 10 students in the art department at UC.
Okay.
So maybe more schools included.
Yeah, because you might wanna exclude a homeschooler, for example, or,
High school student.
Why don't we just give an age range?
yeah.
In the ages of 5 and.
That's what we did for, yeah.
But is there a reason that we wouldn't just say anyone? Like, I think that, you know, I'm thinking of some really great artists and I would want. If Eric Sloan lived in our town, we would have an Eric Sloan t-shirt, like that'd be pretty awesome.
Then it does become sort of like a judgy art sort of scenario, so.
Okay with that.
Yeah, that can go awry pretty fast, so if we keep it to the
If
kids.
Seth MacFarlane did a t-shirt, you'd be so, you would totally be into it.
Yeah, you
would
didn't
buy
want
that.
to-
I know, and I'm just saying, like, you would buy your ticket,
Yeah.
even if you might be out of town, you would want that t-shirt and you might buy your bracelet just to get that t-shirt. He might not win, but he might.
Well, Rob Zombie might win, so.
Or Rob Zombie might win, or Sarah Chase might win.
You never know. Or it might be a hay bale design by Melissa Trinice. Could be right on the center of the
I
shirt.
thought I was incognito enough that no one knew I did the hay bales.
The zero is gonna be the hay bale, that's exactly what I'm hoping for. It's just gonna be a hay bale for the 0, 25 in front of it. Envisioning it now, Melissa, I see it.
But only a couple people.
So for me, same.
Alright, so I like this bracelet concept, I like that we have tier systems for purchase, I think that maybe if we look into what some larger entities are doing at the moment, like Coachella or EDC or some other entities that have larger, like different conferences that have 3 days, where we were purchasing a 3-day ticket, 2-day ticket, 1-day ticket, kind of thing. Expos, venues, I think that'd be great, so yeah, let's save it for next meeting and savor on that, let the seed grow a little bit.
I think we do have to remember that we're asking our town, a lot of people to volunteer for this, so there might be a bracelet cost for a volunteer versus just participant.
Right.
Because you are gonna ask, you know, a lot of people to park cars, to flip a burger or something like that. So we do wanna make sure we're being fair and appreciative.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So we can work on the cost for the food because it's gonna be something we would have to navigate, especially if we add this tier system. So I'm happy to chat with you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and I think we can walk with the IGA and talk to them too, and also maybe give her to the couple of local people here, and Life, they've also stepped up quite a few times. I just had a thought, if, let's say we do the bracelet system. Are we doing a designated, if we raise money on this, where are we sending the funds to? Who's our charity?
We will figure that out.
I think we're sending the funds to the general fund to offset the cost of this. I don't, you know, there's gonna be prizes and stuff that will come out of this. I don't think
Yeah.
we're looking to donate it to a charity
No, I think
necessarily.
to help pay the.
There, it's gonna be an expensive venture. We do not want a tax for this if we can.
Minimize the amount of tax that we expend on this, absolutely.
There's gonna be scholarships and whatnot that come out of it, but I don't think we need to have like a charity or a nonprofit that benefits out of this individually.
Agreed. Perfect. Alright, just moving right along. So the cost of ball, we can definitely touch base on food, so we don't have to worry about that for right now, but we'll gather it for the next meeting. Screening the movie of 1776 and special choral accompaniment by the Kent Singers. Sarah, do you think there would be any costs associated with that we would need to budget for?
Not for the film, Kent Singers, I'm not sure if they're free. I have no idea.
Did have a cost. I thought the film did have a cost depending on where we showed it. Is that?
Well, we have a license, so it's fine.
Even
We
if
can't show it outside. Usually, well, I'd have to look into it, but generally, if we have the license, and Matt, you have one too.
I do,
It's wherever you just take it with you.
Okay, so if we showed it under the tent, for example.
Show it under the tent, we could show it in a field.
Well, that's outside, so
Cars.
that would need to be checked.
Under.
And sometimes
That's under Matt's Park and Rec license.
I'm gonna double check my license, but I'm pretty sure I can show it, like, I can put a film up on the back of the building here.
Okay,
I'll double check my license.
okay, yeah, that, sometimes there's a surcharge if you want an outside license, just even for like a one-off.
Why?
Because it's the fear of getting it into, the fear of getting into the drive-in movie concept.
Gotcha.
When we did our Back to the Future out here, we did
Oh, I know
that.
it is one, I'm just wondering what the logic was, but I
Yeah.
just explained it, so that's, yeah.
Alright, the next thing is gonna be the all-town signing of the Declaration of Independence and bake sale to benefit the Kent Community Fund and Food Bank. So we did discuss what it would cost to get the declaration printed, so we're gonna look into that. And then the bake sale we can revisit at a later time. And then the last one is gonna be the town barbecue and fireworks from 5 to 10 p.m. on July 4th. Obviously the barbecue will have a cost associated with it. Food, we can jump into that for next time, because I feel that we need to navigate what we're looking at cost wise for the food. And then fireworks, I'm gonna be point blank. A lot of folks are not accepting reservations or putting out prices for what they're estimating their fireworks are gonna cost for 2026.
So what are the
They're
costs
not
for
looking to
2025?
do. They're looking to do at most a year out. Right now, average is about $1,000 a minute for a fireworks
And what
show.
is that, what is,
Average is
because
20
it's been a
minutes.
while since I've been to a
Average
fireworks.
is a 20-minute show, so we're looking at an average of $20,000 for fireworks.
Whoa.
I mean, I guess I knew that.
It is a very costly thing. It might increase.
I mean, 20 minutes is a long time.
20 minutes is a long time, so
minimums.
we don't have a minimum. It depends on what company we contract with. If we go with a company, there are trainings out there to get fire department certified, so we can purchase them and launch them, but we also have to get some compliance with the state. A lot of companies are not licensed in Connecticut to launch fireworks, so there's very few companies that have that under their purview at the moment. So we need to be mindful that we are limited in who we can get, so if we want this, we would have to act fast.
Okay, so we also know that Kenwood Kenmont shows fireworks every year
Yes.
for their thing, so I wonder if we should connect with them and potentially they would move them for 1 year to benefit the town.
There's a possibility, they're usually pretty good.
They're pretty good and they do wanna be. And we could.
To the cookout.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We could offer them a carrot too and say that we would bus their folks into town there and back for the event too.
Well, we don't have a bus, but they do have their own buses, so we might not be very much of a carriage.
But we could integrate them into
There's
the
an
event.
insurance.
Yeah.
As part of the reciprocal of,
Yeah.
you know,
They could do
They
a
could
float, they could do, I mean, they could have just as much fun with this weekend.
Yeah.
But it would be a really good thing to actually make a connection for you, to make a connection with them anyway, regardless of if
Yeah.
this even pans out.
Yeah.
Steve, did you just say something about drought and fire danger?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real right now.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real thing for, you know, what if it's a dry summer?
Yeah, I think we
Might
need
not
to
be
take
anybody.
that into consideration.
We can definitely take that into consideration when it comes to it, and unfortunately Samantha's not here tonight, so.
Oh, your laser light show last time, was it?
No, that was Samantha was gonna look into it.
Samantha was looking into that. So that could be of an option, so I think that we can't rule everything out, so.
But if fireworks are banned for whatever reason, that's gonna be everyone, that's not like just
Yeah.
Pens or anything like that,
All I'm
so.
saying is that we should have a plan B, because the way the environment is going these days, it's a high possibility that we could have another drought. We
Absolutely,
can't assume that we won't.
yeah, so
I think it's a good point, Steve. Thank
we will save that part for next
Could
week.
also be, you know, floods too.
That could
Way
be.
it's going.
Well, the laser light show, I'm not just expressing an opinion here, but that could be really cool, because it's something that nobody else would be doing either. And it's sort of a way of saying, we really respect the past, and at the same time, we're gonna one up it.
But I think if we're asking for maybe to share on with Kenwood Kenmont, we're gonna do whatever they are gonna do, so yes, we should find the numbers.
Well, I think it's a yes and, yeah.
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 I don't know, maybe a 3D CGI concept of having George Washington riding on his horse, running through the crowd, over the crowd would be really cool.
Over
I don't know.
Bridge. I was thinking,
He didn't make
okay.
it over Bull's Bridge, the horse didn't, so. He did, but the horse didn't, so I think.
How many
I think it would be
emails am I
great way
getting?
to accommodate and say, hey, you made it this time, so.
Maybe your boys
I like
can
it.
do a female once of these days.
Alright, anything else I wanna throw in? Did you have anything that you'd like to add for games or anything?
Yeah,
Perfect.
just like general sports, maybe like football and baseball, because I feel like those are like American. Some people, what that I talked to, said like a bouncy house, but I don't know if that would work. Maybe like a small scale like scavenger hunt in like a closed area. That could be like somehow educational to like incorporate information about the revolution stuff for kids. Musical chairs to like revolutionary time music. I'm not sure where we would find that sort of thing, but maybe if we could incorporate like a KCS band or the HRHS band to play the music and have like them all stop. That could be fun to include multiple parts of the community. Hopscotch, cornhole, bubbles, just as like little activities to have out for kids. Yeah, that was what I.
Thank you.
So I have an idea that kind of bounce off what Meadow said. What about like a huge kickball game? I mean, at one point I had said like town employees against chamber or something like that, but maybe there's this huge like grand kickball game at the end of the weekend that just is like the cap to the weekend and you know, everyone getting together. I mean, it feels like this is such a community, like unity, not to steal Ellen Porcell's little unity community thing, but you know, a big kickball game that just be so much fun. And it's kind of what you're saying, like just the whole how you do. I think we could do the scavenger hunt that you're talking about. We could do it on one of the Kentland Trust trails, and like you could be like the challenge or whatever, and you like go to a tree and you have a QR code and you scan it and you get like a paragraph of what might have happened or whatever, like a history fact or something like that could be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And I'd be happy to work with a student or you or someone to create it for that year.
Marge, you know how in Great Britain they have the little blue plaques that are on all the buildings? It's like a "this happened here" kind of thing. I wonder if we could create that from the Historical Society with like a QR code on it.
So is it like in Mosaic they have it too, right?
Possibly, yeah.
I think you're right, yeah.
But we could do on certain areas around town where historical things happen.
About that years ago, it was somebody, was Lara?
Oh,
Hanson.
Lara Hanson
Yeah.
has the,
She has the idea of doing that around town.
The disc.
the discs.
Oh, the NCFs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
those
you
are
could-
awesome. Expensive. They're like
Yeah.
$14 for like a pack.
Uh-huh.
We
So
talked about
did-
this.
Did she sell her business though, guys?
yeah, I think she did.
She did.
So I just went off topic a little bit, but I just went to the Mary Mural project and they have the little like things and you like go up to a transceiver and it tells the story. I feel like it's the same thing, except it could be a QR code and right from your phone. Like you don't need to invest in tech to do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, the NCFs are nice because they're the little disc, you just hold your phone up to it and it pops up automatically instead of having to scan it. And the nice thing is, so the other issue is like with QR codes, if you don't have service, you have to try to download, you try to open the website, it doesn't load, but the NCFs, it saves it so that when you go away from wherever you are with the location, it'll pop back up and load.
Or we go really old school and we just write it out.
I think we should write it out on linen with some
Birch bark.
birch bark with some
And your
coating.
quill pen.
You know, I want some birch bark torches right around it, just in the ground with the birch bark hanging on there, because it'd be cool.
That's my thing of the blue plaques that you
There
see
you
in
go.
buildings in the UK. I mean, they're literally this big and they have just enough information to tell you about this historical event happened here in these days with this person.
Cool. I like it. We can definitely look into that.
It probably has to be more generic, because I'm not sure we know enough.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if we have enough info, like we do know over at Bulls Bridge, and there probably should be a plaque there anyway, or at least a little sign that, you know.
One anyways.
Yeah. So there are some things that we do know about the town.
Is there?
Yeah.
No, that's.
So I think there are grants available to do the signs like in Mosaic.
So there are some grants available, National Parks had one for historical means for us to have some funding for it. There's also some other fast acting grants, community block grants.
So I think we're saying,
So, yeah,
what I'm hearing said is that in the playbook, there should be a line for interpretive signage, permanent interpretive signage. And I would write next to it grant possibility. Grant funds possibility.
yeah.
We could also ask the DAR about that too. They might have some grants available for that, specifically for the Revolutionary War.
Was just looking up the old militia training days that they had. The training ground was up near Seven Hearts in North Kent or Flanders. And it was a big party. People would come out, everybody would bring picnics, and there was something called training day cake, training cake. I can't find a recipe here, but Walt Woodward, the state historian, knows all about it. And training cake it was a very much anticipated sweet cake. If we could get, I'll get the recipe for that.
I do think that, there's that picture that I love, of, I believe it's Patsy Strobel with a giant cake. And we tried to recreate it for Seven Hearths at, you know, my birthday party, my 40th birthday party. Is it really a party? But, I think just a giant cake, like, to cap off either the barbecue or
Well, that's what I'm saying.
something.
We
That
could
would be
use this
the
recipe.
traditional.
There's a very traditional recipe, and I can't find it right now, but I'll call Walt.
I think there's also George Washington's birthday cake that they have.
Could
that you can
be.
Get from Mount Vernon, that is online. There is a July 4th, well, they call it birthday cake, but there is like a July 4th cake actually.
So I think, adding to the playbook, just giant cake recipe to follow, just so we don't forget.
We could also make switchel available, which is a fairly old fashioned drink that was served out in the hayfields during the summer, and some people still drink it. And it's
What is it called?
switchel. So it's molasses, I don't know, maple syrup, ginger, water, and some other sweetener type things to it. It's quite good.
Sounds like cough medicine.
You'll need to excuse me, I have to get to an event, back at school.
Okay.
David, for how time, action never stops.
Thanks, Steve.
Alright, so while we have a few things to. I think it would be best if we. Wrap this up, and is there anything else anybody would like to add? So I think for the next meeting, what we'll do is let's set a time and date, and then I'll put together the draft budget to share with the subcommittee. And we'll mull over the last few things that we need to figure out with pricing. We can go ahead and we can finalize the concept for the tiered system for the bracelet. We can finalize the cost for food and what we anticipate with that. Same with lecturers. If we want to do fireworks and then have a backup plan for that with the light show. Connecting with Kenmont, I'm more than happy to take that on and do that. So.
As next steps, do you want me to update our working document and do the chronological order to it and add these items into it?
Yes, please.
That would be amazing.
Great.
And if you want any assistance, I'm more than happy to help you.
Okay, I think I've got everything here, but if I miss anything, please go ahead and switch around the document.
On that same line, as secretary trying to do the minutes, can I refer people to the recording? Of this meeting, because there's no way.
You only have to put the motions,
Motions.
so.
I'll send you a
that
template
was-
that I use for it.
Good,
Yeah,
good, this is just overwhelming.
more than happy to assist you on that. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, next meeting time and date. So right now, discussion on report to the Board of Selectmen. I'll just update them, telling them we met. Give a quick brief summary as to what we're finalizing when it comes to our budget. And then inform them that our next meeting will be X date at X time, and we'll be finalizing the budget draft. All right.
Or adding to it, I don't know how we're gonna finalize. Seems a little
we're gonna
daunting to
be-
think that we're gonna finalize it.
We're gonna
anytime
be,
soon.
producing a draft document. Producing and continually adding to
A
a
working document.
working document.
Yeah.
Alright, next,
Can I ask a quick question about funding?
yeah,
Well, if we, everyone and their mother's gonna wanna get some of these performers and reenactors and such, is there a possibility to have some early funds to lock these people in? Or are we really gonna have to wait until, when we apply for the budget, we're not gonna see this money for a long time, and I just wanted to put that out there.
That's actually a Barbara question, I think, because if it goes through the town, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you're depositing money on something that you wouldn't actually be budgeting for in this year, it seems like in the town, it's a little
we would
labor
have to
intensive
wait until 2025
to even deposit.
deposit.
I
Yeah,
don't know, I think
I'll
that's a,
follow up with Barbara.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a Barbara question, because I don't know how you.
I will follow up
Do
with
that.
Barbara. Yep, so I'll follow up with Barbara. Those are the non-lapsing accounts that you can deposit into.
Right, but if we had a fundraiser starting, then we would have money inside a non-lapsing account.
Right, and usually a fundraiser, because it's tough with the town, it would have to go through a nonprofit. And the nonprofit would have to gift it to the town, that's the cleanest way to do it.
So I think we should look into like the Woodbury Pewter or something and see if maybe the Lions or someone would be willing to purchase, be the pastor, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like seed money.
Yes.
Alright, do we have a date and time for our next meeting in mind? So what we're looking at now, calendarly, Thanksgiving is 2 weeks and 2 days. So do we want to meet in December? Or do you want to meet prior to Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving? Prior to the end of December holidays?
What about December 10th at the same time, which gives us 4 weeks?
Looks good to me.
Time looks good to me. Does that work for everyone else?
Is that a
Oh,
Tuesday?
that
It's
is a Tuesday.
exactly 4 weeks from today.
Would a different day work for you?
Yeah, but I know it doesn't work for other people.
What day?
I know Andrew can't meet on Tuesdays.
Okay.
What day would work better for you?
Anything but Tuesday. I'm sorry.
All right, then.
I mean, occasionally I've got wetlands on,
I
what is it,
could
the fourth
do
Monday?
Monday, the 9th. At the same time.
Sarah's looking like she can't, so.
I can't, but I don't have it written down, but I feel like I have something. I just can't think of it. But yeah, I mean, go for it.
Monday's EMS at the fire department.
Monday the 9th.
Yeah, also I have on the community calendar, there's a winter concert, which I'm guessing is at 10.
No, that was the Tuesday,
Yeah,
and that's, I think, PCS.
Yeah.
Cause it's at 1:15 also.
Yeah.
How did you know that?
It's-
That's gonna be so fast.
was I know that?
How does she know that? She doesn't have her phone in
I
her.
still have a few little.
Would a Thursday work for everybody?
Yep.
Not really.
Not really.
Because that's planning and zoning.
Oh, right, yes, Thursday the 12th is P and Z, Board of Selectmen is the 19th.
Did we skip over
The
Wednesday?
11th, that's BOE conservation,
I can,
yeah. Week of the 16th, it looks,
17th, I know Father Claude said I can't do.
I would say that you're getting into holiday stuff
16th, I
if
can't,
you
it's parking lot.
go that following week,
Yes.
unfortunately.
That's Wednesday the 4th.
Wednesday the 4th does work for me.
And Chamber of Commerce.
Wednesday, the what?
Wednesday the 4th.
We're backing up.
December 4th.
December 4th,
Oh, that's early. Okay,
does that work for you?
I think so.
You said no to chamber, I have chamber on my bed. Like,
Chambers every other month.
for a holiday,
I don't know,
I
I
have something on my calendar that says that, like. I guess that's fine.
just check. Let me check our community calendar. Unless there's an executive meeting for chamber, because your last meeting was November.
Yeah. I have it on there, I don't.
Who would that be on this committee? Nobody.
Right,
Right.
Correct. That's, no,
Ellen, but
right,
yeah,
so let's do it the 4th at 7.
for the 7 PM.
Earlier, yeah.
There's nothing on their calendar.
Can we do it at 6?
7 is much better for me.
Okay.
Oh, it's pickleball night.
Starts at 6, like maybe we can start a little earlier. Maybe we can get pickleball going at 5 PM.
Just set the meeting. It's okay.
KCS. Alright, so we're gonna meet Wednesday, December 4th at 7 PM as our next meeting date and time.
And one of the main goals is to bring in more costs, more prices,
So we would next time bring in the,
Continue to fill out the
Continue.
budget.
yeah, so continue to fill out the items that you're associated with and how much it would cost to have those things go. if anyone needs assistance, I'm more than happy to assist in any way, shape or form. So if there's something that, if you're not gonna be able to get to, let me know. I'm more than happy to jump in.
I think
And
ironing out
the-
would be a good thing to accomplish next time, because I think there's still some questions on where things are actually,
Yeah,
how the weekend is gonna go, and that is
yep,
not quite there yet.
we will get that. Yep.
When's the next date this left?
Their next meeting, so at the end of
The night.
19th, yeah. I will not be present at that meeting of the Park and Rec meeting. We moved our.
Darlene, do you know when the Lions meeting, Christmas thing is? Wednesday, the 18th?
Wednesday, the 18th.
All right, anything else?
So in the selectmen's meeting, you're gonna direct them to the draft document as a
The updated
ever
draft
changing document
As
of
it's
the
noted.
playbook.
Yep, as it's noted in the letters I sent to the selectmen, that it is a constantly changing document.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is going to change for look and to show more chronological order to what's going on.
And it's a Google Doc, so you can go back and see the history.
Exactly.
And then in it, you'll have a link to the Google Sheet that will be the future budget.
I'll have that in there. Yep. Cool. All right. I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:16 p.m.
So moved.
Trustee seconded by Chase. All in favor? All right, motion passed. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Night.
Anybody wanna